Hey Pleiadians, welcome to your December reading for 2017. Happy holiday season, and I hope you have a completely wonderful month. I'm going to get straight into the reading now. The primary message for your reading today is to not give up. It's not the most favorable message to hear because that means that you will be facing some challenges, but what's life without challenges? Main sort of underlying energy of your month is victory. You will be victorious. But there's just some conflicts, some self-doubt, and some sort of lesson that you're going to learn. And there's this if I could just say one thing, not everything happens for a reason. Yeah, it's a good thing to say, oh, everything happens for a reason. No, it's not like that for everybody because you can make it so that everything happens for a reason. When something negative happens, you have the power to turn the situation around so that it would have happened for the best. But it does require some sort of perceptual shift or action so that you can gain those benefits. If you're lazy and you're sort of like, oh, everything happens for a reason, it's not the case. So when something happens as a left turn, it's in your power, if you don't like where that's headed, to turn it completely into the opposite direction so that it would have been it worked out for the best because you course corrected so well that it's better now than if nothing had ever happened in the wrong direction, if that makes sense to you. 2 5s in this reading. 2 5. There's 5 of wands and there's 5 of swords. 5 of wands is usually I'll read it as an internal conflict, but in this context of your reading and the vibes that I'm getting from this reading, this is competition. But competition is also according to your perception. Try to perceive your situation so that you know what you're worth. You know what you're worth, and no competition can ever take that away from you. So take the competition as that kind of course correction where you learn this opportunity to see the absurdity of being compared to other people. It's a false paradigm that is not useful. So take this opportunity when you feel like you're being compared and when you feel this sense of competition, come into your center and understand that competition is a false concept. And then from that place, you can establish this absolute center of essence that you are here to embody as the evolved Pleiadian that you are. You have a need to persist throughout this conflict battle energy. So war, think of the notion of war. So it's a really, really painful painful concept to even fathom. It's a very low frequency manifestation of society. But also, there's something to be learned from this whole dynamic of war and competition and this extreme way of learning. You have to persist, and I think there's an area in your life this month that some sort of area in your life that you've just been kind of avoiding and denying, facing this truth about yourself and about your tendencies. If there's a weakness to any person, and if someone were to ask you, what's your biggest strength and what's your biggest weakness? I believe your weakness would be technically something that you're not aware of. Because as soon as you're aware of a weakness, you're halfway there to fixing it. But there are things that we completely consciously avoid facing about ourselves. Maybe something that is completely too baked into our perception and our belief systems that if you were to change this about yourself, everything in your life would change. And that's something I think you're kind of facing. It does also have this element of emotional wounding to it. There's the Three of Swords. Something that's really hurt you in the past. Something that is kind of this emotional trauma and trigger. So it's time for you to kind of make use of this meditation space that you've been cultivating, your identification with your true essence. So identification is kind of a bad word to use for this because you can't really identify with a true essence because you don't attach yourself to it. But that space that you know how to exist without any other thought, emotion, or form. Use that space of awareness to examine where you are very triggered and where you are where you feel helpless, where you feel powerless, where you kind of run the other way, because it reveals this trauma from the past. And as soon as you fix that and persist with this really harsh war energy, this battle will dissipate as soon as you identify this. So I'm not sure what that is for you. This is your time to kind of reflect on yourself and figure out what that aspect is, what that belief system is, whatever you've been avoiding to face. And as soon as you face this, your life will just upgrade a lot. Because the end result is the victorious Six of Wands. And then underneath that, I have the Chariot, which is a forward momentum to the fullest degree. But until then, you're going to kind of be this suspended person. Suspended from achieving what you truly desire. So it also shows me that if you don't do this by the end of December, if you can't figure this out, which I believe that you will, it will fall apart. It will crash down if you don't do this yourself. So now, right now, the universe is giving you the gentler approach of letting you figure it out on your own and reflect on it. And I know that Mercury is going retrograde, so that's a completely appropriate time to reflect on this. How do you reflect on it? So when you get emotionally defensive or irritated, notice the underlying pattern underneath those things and what belief system is so inherent upon these circumstances and upon these triggers that you've been avoiding to face about yourself, that or whenever you go into any kind of habit or routines or a perceptual loop that you just can't seem to shake yourself out of it. You gotta find the underlying parasitic energy that's under there and solve it. Solve it, and you shall have the world. It will be complete. This is the center of your reading, the world. It will come to an end. I do believe that you're going to solve this. And if you don't, that tower is going to come crashing down and it's going to give you a bigger emotional trigger. So not just in your daily triggers and in your emotional triggers and your habits. If you can't find it in that, then the universe will kind of push a huge event that you can finally see. But so take that as whatever you prefer, whichever way you prefer it. I'm actually also gonna have to be doing this for myself, and I have no idea what this is for me, this belief system or notion or issue that I have to work through, but I'm gonna have to make a list of all of the triggers that come up for me and all of the things that are not working out in my life, and all of the little habits that I have that I can't seem to shake myself out of, and I'm gonna have to figure it out. And then it will take a synchronicity of mental discernment and action to shake out of this issue. Shake yourself out of this issue. But this will be something that you'll have to actively do. You know, most of the time I'll say to you, be receptive. Reception is action. Rest is action. Let the universe do the work. But finally, this month, it seems like you're going to have to take some sort of physical discerning action, because this has been so repeated in your subconscious mind that simply being receptive, it works. Of course it works. But with your conscious mind, I think it'll work better if you take some sort of inspired action and mental discernment to walk away with this sense of victory. Look at your routines, look at your habits, look at where you kind of let yourself down, and look at where you get emotionally triggered, and also look at your relationships with other people and where you have some issues with other people. Even when it's according to a past situation, where does it keep recurring? What is the recurring theme of a problem that occurs with you and other people? Look at your intimate relationships, and if there's recurring patterns in when there's issues in intimate relationships. And so that's your homework. Do this today. When you're watching this, do this today, and then you won't have to face some sort of external crashing of the external intervention, you like macrocosmic intervention, when you can do this homework and figure it out. And figuring out is all you have to do, and then set the intention to undo that. But you gotta take action to figure it out, and chunk down the things you can do to resolve that issue, the war and the competing elements. Is there any elements in your life where you feel kind of helpless, or you gotta really psychoanalyze yourself here and figure it out? I'm gonna have to do that today as well after I'm done these readings. And when you get around to it, you'll have the world, and you'll have complete emotional and spiritual satisfaction, fulfillment. So when you do this and you try to figure out this underlying assumption that's been holding you back, that the main lesson you've got to learn before you move on to your next paradigm, take a close look at the assumptions that you're making, the basic fundamental assumption you're making about any belief or any thought. And ask yourself, is this true? Is there a way around this way of thinking? So I over the past month, I've picked up a little present for you Starseeds, and it's the Magical Dimensions Oracle card and activators from Lightstar. And this is a super, super extraterrestrial energy. And it's going to be so fitting for all of you. So I got this for you guys and me, but mostly you guys. And so I'm going to pull cards from here and also the Starstream Oracle. So as soon as you identify whatever issue you're working with, it doesn't take any more steps than that. That's like the most important part of fixing any issue, is to identify it, and then it's like the rest is pretty easy. Figuring out how to solve the issue, it's just about being aware. So the main underlying energy is don't take anything for granted. And in your reading right now, in this context, I take this as don't take any issues for granted. Every single aspect of your current experience has some sort of underlying message, and it's not by random chaotic chance that you face certain situations. So closely examine every single detail of your life and analyze it and feel through it through your heart to find out what that hidden blessing is in that situation. What about yourself can you change and transmute so that you can go somewhere where it was not possible before? So that next level, the quantum shift, is definitely within reach. There's just this one negative cycle that you're going to break through. Break the negative cycle, and this is that one aspect that I'm talking about. I think there's just this one underlying issue that you need to identify and transmute, and then you have this sacred gift coming to you. Sacred new paradigm is waiting for you, but you have to forgive whatever that issue is, because I think once you find out, you're gonna have to face this resentment and this revenge energy, and it's like that's not the point of any of this. That's not the point of your life, to fall to that level. So you have to forgive it, and in order to learn from this. So when you identify it, make sure you don't hold any sort of revenge energy. Maintain your center of essential truth. So however long this is going to take, this could take you a day, this could take you a week, it could take you a couple weeks, it could take you until the end of December. It's really up to you, but just start now. Your Magical Dimensions Oracle card for this month is the Throat Portal. So you're gonna encounter situations where you have to learn to speak your truth. Speak your truth and have courage, and just be the most authentic version of yourself possible. And that also means finding out who you really are. You may not necessarily know the authenticity of your deepest part, but it's time to be proud of exactly who you are, how you are, where you find yourself in life right now, and understand that that is the most divine it's gonna get, because you're always of the same worth. No matter what happens in your life or what you have, what you possess, you're already, your self-worth is something you need to cultivate before anything magnificent can happen. It should always stay the same at the highest potential of the level. So do believe in yourself, believe in your worth, and speak your truth. You don't want to manifest yourself in an inauthentic world because you're afraid of being authentic yourself. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let me know if you have any feedback or comments. Please like and subscribe. My God, I wonder what this issue is that we're gonna all work through. But let me know if you have any if you feel like sharing your issue that you find. Love you.